Howdy y'all, it's your oh so glorious and beloved MaceValor. How are you guys doing today? I'm great, and today is a story time as a special request by some viewers that were watching the live stream the other day, and I want to talk about my worst clients. These are in no particular order. There's 5 that stood out, and I just wanted to talk about briefly about the experience working with these individuals, the jobs that were involved, and I think that they were all furniture assembly, oddly enough. Weird. And before we get started, this video is unofficially sponsored by Chime. If you're in the gig economy and you're doing the hustle, you're doing the grind, you need your money as soon as possible. And if there's any reason to recommend Chime, it's the fact that you get your money a lot sooner. I used to bank with the worst bank on the planet, Nevada State Bank. No longer bank with them. I've switched over to Chime. It's 2019, it's mostly digital, it's very easy, it's very simple. Every time you make a transaction, it shows you the transaction that was made, the location it was at, and how much money is currently in your account, and I love that. So I've had my card skimmed so many times. It's been skimmed 3 or 4 times in the last year, and the headache of having to go through and deal with, canceling everything and getting a new card, it's not an issue I have with Chime. I had my card skimmed one time, and not only was my money refunded almost immediately, but I was able to turn off my card, get a new card, and have it delivered within just a couple days. It was awesome. As opposed to the banks I've had in the past where I'm waiting up to 3 months, not only to receive my money, but then I have to wait 2 weeks to get the card in the mail. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm telling you, if you're in the gig economy, for just getting your money immediately, I mean, I get paid out within 2 days of completing a job. Like, I'm talking quick, man. So click the link down below, get signed up on Chime, and let's just get right into the video. So kicking this bad boy off at number 5, I have the I'm wealthy so your schedule doesn't matter client. This is someone that really irritated me because in their eyes, their schedule was all that mattered and that mine didn't. You see, the problem that stems from this is that a lot of people look at TaskRabbit as, oh, that's like Uber or Postmates or DoorDash. It's this gig economy thing where people kind of do it on the side. I've had a lot of conversations with clients where this is what I do full time. So if there's any schedule changes, I need to know about that in advance. This client was, even though she was aware of this, never followed suit, would never keep up with the schedule. And I was always too nice. Like, you can always say, hey, I mean, we scheduled for this time. If you can't go at this time, this would be considered a last minute cancellation. You'll have to cancel, and of course you'll get a fee for that. I'm a little bit cooler. Since this incident with her, I've kind of changed things. I don't do last minute changes unless the client is very, if something happens with the client where it's beyond their actual control, I'll work with someone. But this person, no, this person taught me that my time is valuable, that my schedule matters. So I had done work for this girl before. She was really cool, really nice. The entire time I was there the first time, some guy came over, and it was in like a big fancy, wow, I have not seen a certain side of life. Okay, there's a certain quality of living that I'm only exposed to by the jobs that I go to. So, but she was in this really nice, really big condominium right off the strip, right off the strip. It was in between these casinos, and this guy came over, and they're talking about money the whole time, and we're talking tons and tons of money. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of money, and so I'm doing this work for her while I'm there, and they're like arguing and stuff, and she apologizes after the fact, and I'm like, oh, I had my headphones in, I wasn't even listening, which I had my headphones in, but only one, so can't help but eavesdrop. But I remember that day very specifically because she was kind of in a rush. She didn't really let me know ahead of time. I can get out there earlier if you let me know, but she said, hey, I want you to come at this time. I get there, and then I get there, and she's like, well, I gotta kind of get ready and everything because I have a flight leaving soon. We have a chartered jet leaving for New York at this time. And I'm like, okay, private jet, nice. That's pretty fancy. That's very fancy. Look at that. As I'm sitting here in this beat up Durango that's probably gonna die within the next 6 months. But you have fun on that plane. And I'm like, okay, I feel slightly rushed. I wish I would have known this ahead of time. I probably would have, tried to come over sooner. At least offered to come over sooner to make sure that it wasn't so tight. But that ultimately wasn't the issue. But it was the seed of the future. So there was another job where she needed me to, one of the beds that I did for her before that I took apart, she wanted me to put back together because her mom was coming to town. And I'm like, cool, let's schedule a time, right? And, it's like, she wanted it done a week before her mom came out. But for some reason, every day that it was like time to go do it, she would write me like, oh, I'm planning on going to the gym, so can we reschedule for tomorrow? And I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, I'm literally on my way right now, but I guess we can reschedule for tomorrow. And then I'd like, hey, what time? And then she wouldn't say anything. So I'm like, all right, so I'm just going to schedule it for this weekend because I can't really put anything in stone and I have other clients I need to attend to. And, this was a client that did have my personal number, which I made that mistake, which I no longer give my personal number out anymore, which that person's on this list. So I do the whole thing of spending days trying to communicate with her. And it got to the point where I just canceled the job. And I was like, I wrote her like a nice long thing. I'm like, hey, my schedule is very, very tight. We need to agree on things ahead of time. We need to lock in a day and time, and then I'll be able to help you because I have other clients, I have other jobs that need to be attended to. And, she didn't write anything back. And I was like, all right, I'm sorry, but I have to forfeit this job because you've been unresponsive, and it's really hurting me to be able to work successfully when every time I schedule something with you, there's a cancellation or a last minute reschedule, and it's eating up my schedule really, really bad. So I said, okay, I can't do this. So I got rid of her and essentially fired the client. I told her I can't work with you if this is how it's going to be. And then I had a moving job, and in the middle of this moving job, I'm going to be there all day. In the morning, she sends me a text. Like, I'm already at this job working. And she's like, oh, hey, my mom flies in at 5 p.m. I need you to come over and do the bed today because she's coming today and I need to have it ready for her. And I was like, I already canceled the job. I'm sorry. I have another client I need to take care of. And she's like, well, you work so fast. I mean, when you came, it was less than an hour. Please, I need you to come by. I'll hire you. You can come over. You can take care of it real quick, and then no problem. I'm like, listen, I've been at this job since 8 a.m. I'm going to be at this job probably until 5 or 6 at night, okay? You want me to tell my client, hey, I need to put everything that I've agreed to do with you on hold so I can go drive 30 minutes one way, 30 minutes back, so there's an hour. Essentially 1 hour's worth of work there with you, putting this big, complicated, fancy Wayfair bed together that has too many pieces that are necessary. And, then I only get paid for an hour for that. And then I could risk breaking and destroying the relationship I'm building with this client. That's what you're telling me, correct? And she's like, oh, it shouldn't be a problem. I tip you pretty well. So you'll know that I'll take care of you. And then like a winky face or whatever. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, no, that's not how to tip me well. Okay, it's not like you've tipped me a couple $100s or anything, okay? A standardized tip at the end of the job is appreciated, but it's not necessary, okay? Just because you tip in the past doesn't mean that that's gonna convince, like, I'm not so hungry for money, I'm not so desperate that I'm gonna, it's madness. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's crazy. And I told her, look, I'm sorry, I can't help you. It's I don't care if you have crazy amounts of money or anything. I'm dedicated and I already have another client. There's another person that I'm working with. I've dedicated my time to assist this person. They reached out to me because they needed something done. So I went out of my way to make sure that I could take care of that individual. So basically, I have done work with her since then. It's been a little bit better. She hasn't been, as bad per se. That's why she's only number 5, because I haven't necessarily fired her completely, but I have taken working with her as a learning experience moving forward. Number 4. Okay, this one's going to be very quick. This is the simple. Do you do you even know what you're doing? You know, it's kind of like a spectrum. There's not really one client I can just say. There's a lot of clients that I've been to where before I even start the job, like I get there and I'm checking things out and making sure everything's good to go before I physically start actually working on the project pertaining to mounting, I get asked, do you even know what you're doing? And it's always in the most condescending tone possible. It's annoying. I'm a professional, you've hired a professional, you can see my reviews, you can see how many tasks I've done on the platform. So what makes you think that I don't know what I'm doing? It's just initially insulting. There was one that stuck out. It was a TV mounting job, but we had to take it off of one apartment, drive it across the street to the new apartment, and put it up in the new one. We get from the old one to the new one, and I'm like kind of measuring things out. I'm getting ready to put the TV up. It's gonna be quick, fast, and hurry. This dude was so rude. I don't know if he was on something or what, but like he did the whole "do you know what you are doing" thing cranked to 11. Because as soon as like I no problem taking it off at the old place, but for some reason bringing it over to the new one, kind of measuring things out, he's like, do you even know what you're doing? I mean, seriously, I mean, it should have been already in by now. I'm like, well, I just want to make sure that it's got to go in the studs. I gotta drill the holes, put the lag bolts in, get the mount bracket on, and then he's like, well, I don't need you to break it down for me. We all get how to do TVs. It's easy. I would do it, but I just don't have the tools. But like, do I need to go get like the guy one of the maintenance techs that works at the apartment complex to kind of like explain to you like where the studs are and stuff? And I'm like, I haven't even pulled out my stud finder. He said that in relation because before I even do the stud finder, I always do the little tap on the walls, see where it's hollow and stuff. And then when I hear that solid, it's like, all right, that's my area. I don't want to like drag my stud finder across the wall. I like to get in a nice area. Oh, beep, beep, there we go. Bam, bam. You know what I mean? So, and I was like, you know what, let me go grab something out of the truck. And I got in the truck, called support. I told them, this dude's being belligerent. He's belittling me. I do not want to work with him. I don't want to ever work with him again. Can you please get me off of this? So not only did they get me off the job, but they also paid me for the 1 hour that I was there. So thank you for TaskRabbit for being supportive and, you know, putting your technicians, at least in this situation, forward with their best interest at heart and safety, of course. Shameless plug before we go back, moving on to number 3. This is, you know, if you want to help the channel, thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that jazz. But if you want to help out the channel even further, check out our merch store on Teespring. I'll add a few things on there for you guys. No problem, no worries. But yeah, it helps out the channel a lot. I mean, I've bought the shirts from the store and they're actually pretty decent quality. I've had them for almost a year now, and you know, they've been through multiple washes. The screen printing hasn't come off or anything like that. You guys, if you watch my live streams, you'll have seen it. The MaceValor shirt, that's the one I wear the most. But yeah, definitely check that out if you want to help support the channel outside of just liking and commenting. But as always, please comment down below. I always keep my conversation rolling outside of the stream, outside of the videos. I always like to engage with the community. So let's just get right back at it. Oh yeah, Teespring store down below. So kicking back off to number 3. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is some creme de la creme. No. Like, there are so many clients that I've learned things from, and this one taught me never to give out my personal phone number, because yeah, I don't need phone calls at 1 in the morning just because you're lonely and you want to chit chat. See, this was an older woman, you know, and it's not like old, but like probably like my mom's age, I guess. So, hi mom. No, I wouldn't consider old, but older, much older than me. There's no nice way of putting this. Okay, anyway. The thing is I had with her is the first job I went to with her was an IKEA job. Flat rate, right? Busted out the whole thing. Nice, quick, fast, in a hurry. You know, she's hired me again to come back, and I was in the middle of something. My schedule was busy. She needed it done that day. I referenced over one of my buddies, right? Apparently, my buddy at the time had a lot higher of a rate than I did. And she was unhappy that it took him as long as it did to do the one item that needed to be put together, and especially for the charge. And she's like, well, he's and she called me to tell me about it. Okay, I mean that's y'all's problem. Why you telling me? Oh, because I recommended him. Okay, now it's true. Yeah, this individual, I toss as much work to him as I can, and yeah, he does work a little bit slower. I think he works great though. He's one of the best, hardest workers. He's very knowledgeable, and that's why I recommend him. Does he just so happen to work slower? Yeah, he does work slower. I don't think it's intentional. I don't think he works slower to get more money, which some shady taskers out there will do that. They will intentionally work slower so they can run the clock. He's not like that. It just he's a little bit more thorough. That's the best way to put it. He's slow and meticulous because he's very thorough in what he does. He likes doing it right the first time, which we'll kind of get back to that on number 2 about being meticulous and safe. Nah, but seriously, so this chick, like, yeah, she would call me. She called me about that issue, and I'm like, well, there's nothing I can tell you. I'm sorry, I wasn't the one that was able there to help you. Next time. But she would call me every now and then to chit chat, and you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of something, but if you need to hire me, you have my link. You can let me know all the information there. It's like, oh no, I just wanted to talk, you know, see how you're doing. And I'm like, I'm good, but I'm kind of like working, or hey, it's like midnight, it's 1 a.m. I don't really want to talk. I'm trying to go to sleep. Like this, you can't. When you have my number, it's for like very niche things. It's for business work related stuff. It's not for, hey, let's hang out, let's talk, let's chit chat. No, none of that. And you know, she just didn't really seem to get it. I ended up blocking her number, of course. But you know, one of the big things, the reason why I bring her up is she's the you used to be cheaper type. And that's when you have an old client, previous client, and they hire you in the future, but they see that your rates have gone up. And they want you at the price of what you were before. So she's not the only one. I've had many clients who have rehired me, and they ask me, oh, well, your rates went up. Are they taking a different cut, this, that, and the other? And I'm like, well, no. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of experience in this field, but now on the platform, it shows that I have a lot of experience in the field. So because of that fact, I'm inching my way up to be paid what I'm worth. And I believe that, you know, for everything that it was considered, that's my rate before. That's what I was worth then. Since then, this is what I am worth now. In the future, it might go up again. That's why you have an option to choose multiple people instead of just me. Well, we like working with you. We think you're the best. You've been here multiple times. We just don't think that, you know, it's with our budget, the price is too high. And you know, this girl was another one of them, where they want to kind of give you the sob story or whatever. And it's like, look, I'm sorry, but this is just how I operate. This is just how I do it. I don't really do whatever you're asking. I'm not going to lower my price, you know. And yeah, I've had clients that, you know, when it goes over an hour, because they think that this 4-hour project's only going to take an hour, they get upset and they try to convince me to only charge them an hour. They give me some sob story, and I'm like, look, if you can't afford more than an hour, I can leave right now with the project a quarter of the way done. You know, and almost always they want you to finish it, but you know, there are people out there that are pretty shady, which we will touch on. So, all right, so top 2. These are my top 2 worst clients. One, the dude was mellow and cool, but the environment in which we were working was difficult. Dealing with him kind of after the fact was a little messed up. So let me kind of break it down for you guys like this. So me and the other dude that I had referenced, my other client, me and him, we got into this IKEA task, and this guy scheduled this task to start at 5 p.m. and we were there until like 11 o'clock at night. It was a IKEA PAX wardrobe, the biggest one that they had, the tallest one. And there was a whole lot of interior components. It had sliding glass doors, like just the Ritz, you know. It just had everything, all the bells and whistles. And this guy, you know, he asked us when we get there and we look at the working area. It's in the bedroom. The bedroom's fully furnished. There's not a whole lot of room. So from the doorway outside the bedroom, there's a hall, because there's like a bathroom there. So there's a hallway. So realistically, the only space we have to build anything is this hallway, this little hallway in this room, and it's just barely enough so we can get each of the wardrobe units themselves built. So it was very, very tight. And I told him, like, yeah, we've done many of these, but because of the environment in which we're working, there's not a whole lot of space, so it is actually going to add on quite a bit of time. And he's like, oh, I only thought it was going to take 2 hours. And I was like, I mean, according to the instructions, it takes 2 hours to put the frame together for each frame, which would be 4 hours. And I'm assuming that would include the internal components, but they don't really gauge that out just right. If you really want a good estimate on these units, this is a 6 to 8 hour build, especially because you have the sliding glass doors. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this as quickly as we can because we are very experienced. So I would gauge somewhere between 4 to 5 hours, but I don't want to make any promises, but that's what we're gonna shoot for because of the tight spacing. And he's like, okay, I guess. And you know, there were some issues while we were working there. He called like his live-in girlfriend. You find out crazy information from clients. So they've been together for like 10 years, never married, but that's their issue, whatever. So he calls her, and apparently she locked her keys in her car. She left her keys in her purse, but she locked in her car. And so he was looking for a spare key at the house, and he was kept coming to us, and we're like barely even halfway done. Like we're trying to make everything work. We're still building stuff, and he's like, "Oh man, yeah, we need to get this done like now because I gotta get an Uber. Like, can you be done in like 30 minutes with all this?" And we're like, "No, we're gonna be done in like 2 to 3 hours, okay?" And he's like, "Well, man, you guys really like, you know, I was hoping you guys would be a lot faster than this." And I'm like, "We're some of the fastest people in this town when it comes to building these things. Look at the space that we have to work with. It's very tight. Like, there's not a lot of room to move around." And he's like, "All right, I'll try and let her know." And we hear her on speakerphone in the other room, and she's pissed, and she's like, "It should only take 2 hours to put that whole thing together. Why are they taking so long? No. You know, I don't want to come home and have them still there. Why aren't you coming to bring me my keys? No. And I guess she found her keys, like, they weren't in the car or whatever, so she eventually came home. But during the job, my buddy broke one of the sliding mirrors on the door. So that added on about 40 minutes of trying to call support. Support's closed, filing tickets, this, that, and the other. Took pictures, let the client know, and we kind of broke everything down. Like, look, here's what happened. Now, in any other type of scenario, if IKEA was open, I would have had that other guy drive down to IKEA with the broken piece, try and swap it out. But that wasn't going to happen because IKEA is a 45-minute drive one way from the location in which we were at. He was out there, so that wasn't going to happen. Not to mention the fact that they were closing soon around that time. But we ended up finishing up everything that we could, and then we arranged, you know, like, hey, you got to get a hold of IKEA and TaskRabbit, all right? You get a hold of IKEA to get a replacement, and then you talk to TaskRabbit, and they will help you get someone else to come out and finish this up. But the doors are assembled. We're gonna set them to the side. You're just missing that one mirror. Like, that mirror needs to be put on, and then it just needs to sit on the rack, and then you're good to go. But as for everything else, it's all done and taking pictures. You know, I tried to be as thorough as I could. Look, we finished the project. Everything's good to go. Here's what you need to do to get that mirror replaced, and so you can get compensated for the work to have someone come out and take care of that. Here's all the info for you. There's not really anything else we can do right now because, you know, support is closed. So, is there anything else? And he's like, "Oh no, man, it's all good, I guess." And then, you know, we help move the boxes for him because, you know, I never do that. I never move boxes. I stage them in one location in the client's house, and that's it. I don't handle disposal unless I'm being paid for it. It's even in the agreement. The client knows that disposal of stuff is not part of it. But we help them move the stuff to the trash room in his condo. Just because, you know, we felt bad about the glass breaking. So flash forward a few days later, it's on my birthday, day before Valentine's Day, and I had my schedule turned off for Valentine's Day. Somehow, he was able to connect with me, requested me, even though my schedule was turned off for a couple days around that time frame, and he requested that I come out to take care of this fix. I guess he got everything set up, and TaskRabbit gave him a credit, and he was going to get someone to come out. But they would only credit for 1 hour, even though, you know, God knows how long you could run into. But 1 hour for one person when you really needed 2 people for these things. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, one person can do these sliding doors. I wouldn't. I'm not in an experience level where I'm comfortable touching these things with just one person. Every time I do these, I always have the other guy with me. So I was like, yeah, you're gonna need 2 people for this. I don't know why they gave you credit for 1, but I'm not available. So, and you know, I kept telling him like, I'm not available that day at all. Valentine's Day, I can't come over and help you. It's like, oh, well, you know, I don't know what else. It's like, I can't find anyone else on that day, so I'm gonna need you to come out because you were here before. And I'm like, I physically cannot leave where I'm at and come help you. I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can tell you. And he was very persistent, so I called to support to have him removed so that I would never show up for him again. And that's something that you got to do. If you're on the platform, sooner or later you got to click the thumbs down on the client. You know, you can't allow yourself to work with someone that's going to make you feel like crap. They're going to mess with your schedule, or they're going to have some sort of superiority over you, regardless of what the situation may be. Handle everything professionally, but at the end of the day, man, some people you just don't want to work with. This segment of the podcast is unofficially sponsored by Rockstar Energy Drinks because they taste delicious. I'm addicted to them, and quite frankly, I drink way too many than is medically safe. All right. The creme de la creme. I don't even know what to title this one. I just wrote King of All Bad Clients, the worst. This guy, oh my goodness. This was at a time where I was trying not to be picky with work anymore. This is numero uno. Number 1, worst client I've ever had, and you guys will understand why. This dude, this piece of human garbage, this trash, okay, he hit me on multiple levels of how bad he was, of how just god-awful of a horrible client this guy was. He checked every single box. He made every one of these other clients look like the creme de la creme, the best client, the one that you want to go to, the one that slams down like $500 as a tip on a 10-minute job. Like, we're talking, this dude was so bad, he made me want to go back into HVAC. This dude was so bad, he made me want to go back and re-enlist in the U.S. Army. This guy was so bad, he made me want to remarry my ex-wife. He was such a bad client. It's horrible. So I'm at this phase in my TaskRabbit thing, right? Doing the gig economy stuff. I'm trying to be as picky. So I don't want to be as picky. So I'm like, you know what? Regardless of what the job is, if it fits within my schedule, I'll accept it. I'm getting a little bit too picky. You know, I could be making more money. Let me just stop being picky. Let me just go do these jobs. Who knows what could happen, right? Just say yes. So I had one job and another job on the other end of town. And I'm like, okay, this job is he requested at 6. The other job's at like 8. He says it's only going to take an hour, maybe even less. Let me see what I can do. And we talked, and he's like, oh yeah, if you can come now if you want, and if you got time. And I'm like, well, I do have other clients. I don't want to stretch it too thin. And he's like, yeah, totally. So I'm like, you know what, fine, I'll go do it. And it was just a shelf. He's like, oh man, it's just a shelf. It's like one of those floating shelves, that's all. And I'm like, that's it? It's like, oh yeah, just a floating shelf. And I'm like, okay. So I go with him, right? I go to his place in Henderson. 30-minute drive, got traffic, about 40-minute drive. I get there before him, okay, remember that. I get there before him. I'm waiting for a good 30 minutes before he shows up. Turns out he was coming from IKEA. So he shows up, finally. I meet up with him, and he's like, oh yeah, I got the stuff in my car, just give me a hand taking it upstairs, and you know, we can get it up. And I'm like, if it's just a shelf, I don't know why, but okay, whatever. So I meet him at the elevator, because here's the thing about this place. There's a gate code to get in. There's a little parking garage. Then you need a key fob to get into this door that leads you into the room where the elevators are. Then you need another key fob or another, level of security to get into the elevator. Once you're in the elevator, you need another, press of the key fob to actually activate the elevator up to your floor. So we're talking multiple layers of security just to get into this place. If you have the key fob, then you're fine for every single level. But So we finally I get up to the next level where he's parked, and oh my God, I look at him and I'm like, this isn't a shelf, this is a TV bench. He's like, oh no, it's mounted on the wall, it's a shelf. And I'm like, no, this is a TV bench. This is not a floating shelf. And he's like, no, the TV's already on the wall. And I was like, I'll explain it when we get upstairs. So I help him take everything upstairs, right? And we lay it all down, and I look at him and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have, if you want me to do this, I'll do it because I'm here, but I'm gonna have to cancel my next client because this is gonna go over, especially with as far away as you guys are. Here's the deal. This is not a floating shelf. This is a TV bench. That's what this item is called, a TV bench. It is a TV stand, and I understand that you're floating it up, but this is not what you think it is, okay? It's not a shelf. A shelf is just one plank of wood. That's a shelf. This is not a shelf. This is a TV bench. If you would like me to do it, I can do it. And he's like, okay, cool, fine. And so, long story short, I put the whole thing together. He's playing some crappy freaking music on SoundCloud, you know, like talking about rappers, and he's like, oh man, what'd you do before this? And I'm like, well, I was in HVAC, and before that I was editing indie films in Orange County, like student projects or, you know, smaller indie films, stuff like that. Yeah, I was an editor. He's like, oh man, can you edit videos, like music videos, man? Because I'm telling you, man, I'm in the music industry, man, and I'm always looking, you know, to collaborate with other talent. And I'm like, oh, it's not really something I do anymore. I don't do that professionally. He's like, oh no, I'm just saying, like, no, it's like pro bono, man, like you know, we're looking to collab, like, you know, you do my music video and I hook you up, you know, I shout you out, you know, like look at this man's work. And I'm like, I don't do edits for free. He's like, oh no, it's not for free, man, it's for clout, man, you know, it gets you up. And I was like, no, I'm not interested, I'm sorry. And then he starts talking about like, oh, you know, we just moved in here, you know, about a couple months ago, and, you know, I'm trying to fill this place out. I want to put those Philip Hue lights, but it's like 30-foot ceilings, maybe 30 feet. It was huge. Like, you needed a massive ladder or scaffolding. Like, it was like 2 or 3 stories up. Like, his living room, the ceiling was massive. Let's say 2 stories up. So it was like 20, 25 feet, whatever, high up there. And he wanted to have these lights replaced. So I'm like, well, I can't do that because I don't have a ladder that big, but there might be someone on the platform that does. You could always go reach out. I don't ever want to see this guy ever again in my life. I already don't like him. He doesn't value my time or anything. You know, he acts like, oh, it's not going to take long. I'm like, it's going to take a lot longer than you initially made it seem it was going to take. Oh, I'm just so aggravated just thinking about this guy. So anyway, basically, he falls asleep while I'm building this thing. I finally get it up and mounted, leveled, perfect. This thing's great, right? I take my pictures. I send the pictures off. The pictures got sent to the wrong client. Weird. So I was trying to resend the pictures. The reception in this place was really, 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 really bad. Keep that in mind. The reception's horrible. I'm trying to reconnect, and I'm trying to send it off to the right client so he has pictures in the chat thread. And I tell him, like, hey man, I'm all done. Here's all good to go. Do you have any questions? Do you have anything else? And he's like, oh yeah, you take those boxes, right? And I'm like, well, there's nowhere for me to throw them away, so we don't take boxes. That's usually for the client to take care of. He's like, oh, that's cool for sure, man. Yeah, this looks awesome. This looks dope, man. Yo, man, I'll definitely look at you in the future, man. I got some more projects. Have you come on down here and do. And I was like, absolutely. And of course I was going to thumbs down the guy. I was like, all right, I'm trying to invoice this, but I'm probably going to have to wait until I step out. Well, I didn't tell him that, but this is what is internal. I have to invoice this, but there's no reception, so I'm going to have to wait till I get outside. And I was like, all right, if that's all good, man, you have a great evening. I'm going to get out of here. I leave the door. There's no reception. I have no notifications of anything on my phone. As soon as I get to the parking garage, which it's kind of an open, it's like an overhang, really, beneath the building to outside. So as soon as I get out of the elevator and I'm walking over to the truck, I get an alert. And this is, I was able to load up the app. I'm about to do the invoice. And then it does this weird stutter thing on the phone. And I'm like, what? And it says cancellation mounting in Henderson. And I'm like, this dude did not. 2.5 hours worth of work. And, you know, because I charged him for, since I got there, waiting. I get out there, man, I'm so livid. He canceled the freaking job. Really? You're really, if I remember somewhere I made a video about this. I definitely talked about it on a live stream for a few days. And thank you guys so much for joining on the live. Shout out to Foibles, man, because, you know, I was so upset. He threw $20 my way in a super chat, which, you know, obviously YouTube takes 50% of that, but thank you for that, Foibles, because, dude, like, that just brightened my spirits because it at least covered the cost of gas going there. And I was just so livid. I was beyond livid, man. Like, how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna have me cancel the next job I go to because this one's gonna overtake because you underestimated how long it would take? You gave me the wrong item. You piece of dirt, dude. Like, who does that? Who cancels the job right when it's done so you don't have to pay? Like, how cheap are you? Thankfully, you know, I had sent a ticket out. I called TaskRabbit the next morning. I was like, look, here's a fraud thing. I have the pictures, I have documentation. Like, you can see, like, intermittently while I was there, we talked in chat and agreed, like, oh, this is the right item. This is not what it was said in the description. This is the right item. I'm gonna start working on it now. Like, we did thorough everything in chat. And chat was like, the support agent was like, okay, we're gonna reopen the chat because it shouldn't have been canceled. As soon as we reopen it, charge him because obviously he'll get an update and we don't want him to get away with, like, continuing to cancel. So I was like, wonderful, perfect, thank you so much. So I was able to get the job reopened. I charged him the 2.5 hours, and that was that, you know. And it took days. It was a good week and a half because it was a CC issue. Because even when it finally went through, the guy pulled his card information. So I at least ended up getting paid, but it took quite a bit of time for the CC issue to clear so that TaskRabbit could send me my money. Which, thanks to Chime, link down below, as soon as TaskRabbit approved it and made it available, it was in my bank account. So thank you for that, Chime. Link down below. I'll benefit, and you'll benefit just as much from clicking that link down there. Yeah, so if you guys want another story time, I think this one is probably the longest story time I've ever done because there was just so many different clients to kind of go into. But I wanted to give you guys like an idea of what I see typically as a bad client. They don't value my time, or they don't think I'm worth what I charge, or, you know, they're just downright just annoying. You know, people I just don't want to work with, people that just don't look at any sense of professionalism, you know, outside of their own realm. You know, it's like they're solely self-centered, and those are the people that I just try to stay away from. Anyway, this video's gone on way too long, but thank you guys for watching this far. If you made it this far, hey, how are you? Say something in the comments down below. As always, I'm your oh so beloved and glorious MaceValor. It's extremely hot out here in Las Vegas. I'm at a loss, man. This video's gone on longer than it should have. I'm your oh so glorious and beloved MaceValor. Signing off.